Welcome aboard for the last of an era, the last rotation of the London Heathrow to Stockholm Arlanda flights using the Boeing 767. Now, started off in the business class lounge, in this case from the Terminal 5B satellite. The British Airways 5B satellite lounge always has a bit of a lost at the end of the terminal feel, but a quieter, more refined atmosphere compared to the absolute chaos that can sometimes accompany the main Terminal 5 South lounge. Now, the satellite lounge is a combined galleries, club and first-class lounge in one, but really few first-class facilities apart from excellent spirits and slightly uprated catering. So, time now to board, priority boarding as you might expect, and onto the 767. Now, the British Airways 767 is a bit of a unique beast. It's been in operation for more than 28 years under the BA flag. When the first British Airways 767 order went in, it featured Rolls-Royce engines. Few other carriers ordered that combination. BA originally ordered 28 aircraft in stages from the late 1980s onwards. The first aircraft entered service from the early 1990s and operated initially short-haul flights, predominantly to Charles de Gaulle. Soon joined later that year by long-haul configured aircraft. They replaced TriStars, in fact, to Abu Dhabi and Bahrain. And the last aircraft were delivered in 1998, with the fleet then operating from Gatwick, Heathrow and Manchester. Now, while the Boeing 767 is a decent aircraft, indeed a pleasant cabin, you can see it here, soon fell out of favour. And that's why, just look at that cabin, it's really remained unchanged for decades. Even the seat back pocket is looking very tired, and you want to see how saggy the seat is looking. Okay, takeoff now from Heathrow on a rather wet, miserable day. The long-haul aircraft, unfortunately, are no longer with us. They did operate with first class. British Airways, one of the few operators to fly them with 4 classes on board. The aircraft really unloved now. When BA first introduced fully flat beds to Club World, the 767 were the last aircraft to have the new seat fitted. There are now just 5 aircraft in the fleet, operating very select short-haul flight destinations such as Amsterdam, Athens, Frankfurt, Larnaca, and indeed Stockholm, where we're off to today now that we've taken off. And the crew came around with drinks very, very quickly. Quite a few people celebrating one of their last flights and looking at the really notorious internal condition of these aircraft. They really were very tired, and this one's in a very poor state. However, it does feature the new British Airways new Club Europe dining. This includes more British ingredients and more choice on its short-haul routes following major changes just last year. There's a real menu for a start. It's on a nice piece of card. And in fact, all Club Europe flights, apart from the very shortest, have got these. There you can see it. Also champagne as well. Larger meals and more choice. Now, British Airways is to cook more British ingredients around a best of British flag, and you can tell it immediately from the meal I've got here. The lunchtime menu includes British reared pork sausages and mash, plus a celebration of British cheeses. There was also gnocchi and the classic BA cold plate for those who didn't fancy bangers and mash. Now, the longest of flights are always going to include at least 2 hot dishes. In this case, we had those, along with a cold salad as well, and also dessert as well from Dough & Co. This included a passion fruit panna cotta. However, the practice of serving wine in large bottles from the galley, just as on long-haul flights, that's being scrapped. So now all wine is being served in little aircraft miniatures, in line with the previous policy for the shortest of flights. Menus for flights out of Heathrow, well, they're now going to be changed every fortnight compared to the previous every month or so. Got to say, on this flight, the crew were very good. They came round with top-ups of wine as quickly as they possibly could, even though the flight getting on for 2 hours or so. No in-flight entertainment, of course, by the in-flight magazines. All 3 are here, both High Life and also the Business magazine. And also quite nice that the crew came around and served drinks just before we approach finals, so you could be drinking as we come into Stockholm Arlanda. So it does seem as if it's actually worthwhile paying a bit extra now for British Airways and Club Europe. Quite a pleasant flight as we land in Stockholm on a much better, sunnier autumn afternoon. As for the Boeing 767, well, very unfortunate to see BA retiring their fleet, but as you can see here, the aircraft showing its age.